Rich and Ryan welcome you to the R&R Dust Stuff podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to R&R Does Stuff. We are back in our respective shops, ready to go talk about some latest pickups.
Oh my God, Ryan, and it's almost like adventures too. It's not only do we have pickups, we got adventures and pickups.
We like adventures in vintage computer land. So, where do you normally look for your vintage computers? They're out there. It's not like you can just roll into Target and Walmart or Best Buy, or for those vintage folks, CompUSA, and you can't just roll in and go buy a 30 or 40, 50-year-old computer.
We got Goodwill finds. We got Shop Goodwill. We got weird auctions on eBay. You know what I mean? Those are some of the things we use.
Yeah, definitely. Those are some good ones. Those are, in my experience, a little more on the pricier side, particularly eBay.
Mm-hmm.
For Amiga stuff, I've seen, so there's one called AmiBay that has a lot of stuff. And your local Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist, where we're going to focus on today. Craigslist has been a place. I picked up a few things from there. I've gotten stuff from, Facebook Marketplace also, but I have this soft spot in my heart for Craigslist.
You honestly, you mine Craigslist so well. I'm telling you, it is. I go to Craigslist once in a while, but you've just got it down to an art, and you've got your communication skills with those folks really well too, to where it's been very successful for you, and I have benefited from your success.
You definitely have. For those that follow along on the show, though, I'm more into the Amiga 1632-bit stuff, where you're really focused on the 8-bit.
Bingo.
So that's a very symbiotic relationship that seriously, a lot of people that had one went to the other, so there's kind of both sets of systems there.
Everyone think about Ryan being the shark, and I'm that little thing that sticks to the side of the shark.
That's not true. You find your own set of You find your own set of things as well, man. So, what did we find recently?
Craigslist. I was supposed to go out of town this weekend. The weekend that this was is where I'm saying. That sounds like, because I don't know when this drops, but the weekend this happened, I was supposed to go camping again. And unbelievably, my fiance had a problem with some frozen pipes that were thawing out and leaking. And so it all came together as we were getting ready to go, like literally 1 hour before we were supposed to hit the road for like a 2-hour drive. All of a sudden she has a problem at her house. Her neighbor's saying stuff. And so we just dealt with that. And we said, let's not do our camping weekend. You shouldn't force things in, right? You just kind of roll with the plan. Ryan then pings me, thinking maybe I'm camping, but I wasn't.
You weren't, which was kind of interesting, because I got an alert for some Amiga stuff in Rich's neck of the woods, because I'm data mining Craigslist, where I have people that can maybe grab stuff for me. So, and if it's a good deal, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
If it's a good deal, I'm going to buy it. Regardless of the condition, it's a project for me. This is my midlife crisis. It is. Some people go to a bar. Some people go do. Now, I collect old Amigas for some reason. That's just what I'm doing. And it had just a random description. It had said there were 5 different Amigas. No pictures, no anything. And like, sure. I got my alert and responded to the guy, I don't know, about a half hour after the alert went off. And he's like, yeah, sure. And started a rapport with him, included Rich into it, going, hey, this is the guy that's going to be picking it up for me because, I'm not in Dallas. So I'm not driving there to go get this. That's just not working out. Luckily, got to work out some deal where the next day, 2 days later, next day, something like that Rich was able to go out, meet up with the guy, and he picked up a good amount of Amigas. I don't
Oh,
know how full was your truck?
I have the full size cab, and it just covered the whole base layer in the back. So, and by the way, that was boxes with items stacked in them. So it was multiple boxes. The big key items, the consoles, right? We'll dig into those. But
Yep.
they also had just a box of cards, and they also had a box of just cabling that goes
Yes.
along with the Amiga. And they just had some software, if I'm not mistaken. I think there was a couple things of software, like maybe
There was a
Fortnite.
there wasn't much
Yeah.
software at all, which was that's hard, hit or miss. A lot of that's archived online, but I still like having tangible discs. So we picked up three of the all-in-ones. So there was a 500, which is probably the most common Amiga out there, I would guess. It had a little bit of issues, missing like two keys. I think the F10 key and the escape key, not a
Right.
big deal. We don't really know if any of this stuff works at this point. That's a future problem that we'll talk about once the wonderful shipping people get stuff to my house.
Oh yeah, now we got to ship it all to Ryan. And trust me, it was such a great deal that even with the shipping, Ryan's going to be in great shape. That's
I'm
how
fine.
often this deals. Oh, by the way, we did open up everyone together on camera and made a YouTube. So I kind of twisted his arm to make some content for my channel. So we got together and did that. And maybe the link will be up. If not, I'll just put a generic link to High Shelf Rich. And the A500 was beautiful inside. I mean, no dirt, no dust. The boards looked beautiful. The shielding had very minimal rust pixelation or rust pitting. It was so beautiful, man.
Oh, it was great. So it's a great Amiga. It's an older one, but it's still a 500, which is pretty cool. You can do a lot of stuff with it. There's a lot of things you can play. It's a great game aspect. After that, there's a 600 as well. Now, all of these machines.
Oh no, Ryan, the 600's disappeared. I don't know where it went.
Oh, it's missing.
Oh, it's
nice.
So cute, everyone. It's such a cute. Think of the Commodore Plus 4. If it grew up and became an Amiga, it's an Amiga 600. And I love the form factor. I was just, as soon as I saw this 600, Ryan, I was like, can I just lie and say it never made it? Because it is pretty. And for you, it's the first one for your collection. So it's a definite keeper, man.
Yeah, I didn't have a 600. So this is pretty cool. Hopefully it'll work. It's going to we took it apart a little bit, looked inside. It needs some more looking. I think we didn't get the shielding up on this or the next one. Just as a note, on the outside of all of these, there's this layer of dust and dirt.
Oh, yeah.
It is, all this stuff's going to need cleaned.
Oh, yeah.
So while it's a deal financially, from a time perspective, all this stuff's going to take time.
You're going to be, when you add in how much it costs for you actually to do labor in life, right? Let's just pretend that's an issue you worry about. There's no way you're going to save money on this deal because you're going to put so much time. Wait till we tell you about the 4,000. But, I spoiled. Oops, sorry. So the 600 inside looked really good too. I'm going to say if the 500 was a 9 of 10, I'm going to say the 600 on the inside was 8 of 10. Would you say? Yeah, 8 of 10. Yeah, right up there, right in the top level of what you would want to see inside an old case.
I'll know more once I take all the caps off and go to recap it, because the 600's in that realm of, hey, let's play with surface mount caps, and they all were terrible in that time frame. So more than likely some of them have leaked, hopefully not too badly. The 1200 looks great. I mean, it looks like a nice 1200. It's a hard drive version. There are no expansion boards. There weren't any expansion boards in the 500 or the 1200.
No.
The 600 had a 1 meg board in it.
Yes.
Which was pretty cool. So the 600, the case was it didn't close right. So
that's right. I think someone didn't close it right one time. And I didn't want to force it, Ryan. I'd rather wrap this up as 2 items to ship you in a box that are properly protected from each other, so you could deal with this. It doesn't want to clamshell super easy.
Correct. And it is dirty. Both the 1200 is dirty on the outside. The
Oh,
inside, we know.
they were in a shed
Oh, I
or,
know.
or buried under a car. I don't know where they were.
I think they were in a shed somewhere out back. It's all looks like surface level dirt for the most part. Because once we got stuff inside, the inside was clean, but the cases, they are dirty. The 1200 looked good. We didn't get the shielding off. Both the 600 and the 1200 have hard drives in them. I'll figure that out when they get here. If they spin up and if I can get data off of them. They both, the 600 and 1200 both have PCM CIA slots in them. So I've actually ordered a PCM CIA to compact flash adapter.
Oh,
So if
sweet.
these things boot up, there's a disk that has a driver that I can then just copy the data onto this compact flash.
And I want to tell everyone how incredibly cool it was to play archaeologist on this.
Mm-hmm.
When I opened those up and saw their hard drives and then realized that's a 40 megabyte hard drive.
Yes.
That was cool. I'm telling you, when I professionally started working in IT, we were at 120 and up on hard drives. So I don't think I've ever seen a 40 meg hard drive.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there were. I know I had a 500. I thought it had a 5, maybe a 20 meg hard drive in it when I was growing up, and I remember it being expensive.
Yeah,
like hundreds of dollars just for this expansion with this hard drive in it. I'm super excited. I'm hoping these drives spin up. I want to see what's on them. I want to continue the archaeology and go, what's here? How are people using this stuff? And see what they were using, which is pretty neat. So I'm excited. This has been a great find. But wait, there's more.
Oh, yes.
There are 2 more machines. We've got the 3, the all-in-ones, those were the home versions, really.
Yeah, I call them console. Maybe I shouldn't call them console computers because it's like they're a little Linux box, right? They're just a nook. They're what they are. Oh, actually, they're even better because they usually come with keyboards and everything right on them. Yeah, so yeah, I kind of think of them as consoles. But yes, what was next? What was the backbreaker that came out?
These were really single board computers.
Yeah, that's a way to put it.
Because they were. That's just what it was. So we went in, and there was the heaviest thing. I think Rich threw his back out. Maybe he was complaining.
Oh man, I got a teeny tweak. Like I grabbed it a little wrong, and I was a little positioned wrong, and I got that little twing in my back that said, "Hey, don't do that." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I set it back down and figured out what I did stupid. But yeah, the 2000, dude, it weighs like 100 pounds.
It's a lot, but it's not quite that much. I think it's like 25. So, but it's built like a tank. It really is. That thing is a beast. That was their big box. 8 million cards go into it. It's great. Now, it looked cleanish. Not really from the inside.
Yeah, no, it was terrible.
Someone didn't put the slot covers back in the back after they were playing with it. And for those that know Amigas, and this is where you're starting to cringe. When I say the word Varta, this thing had it. And boy, did it leak. There is greening all over the side of the board. I did guide Rich through to cutting that Varta out and making it go away. I'm like, I don't want to see that anymore.
Yeah. That
is the Amiga killer right there, is that Varta. And boy, this one's going to be a project.
Yeah, I know as we were looking at them together, you had already kind of said in your brain or out loud, you said out loud, this might be a donor. This might be a donor board. And when we looked at all the damage, you might be right. This could be even like that in the electrolytics or whatever. It was just such a mess, man. And is the 1200 the one that also had the black footing that was melting into the?
Nope, that's this one. That's
okay.
2000 as well.
Okay.
So as we're pulling cards out, because I don't want to ship them, I don't want them shipped with the cards inside the machine.
That's right.
So the 2000 has a nice GVP accelerator card in it, and there's some black running down a couple of the pin slots. So I gotta go figure out what's going on with that. So it might be as you mentioned, the foam or the rubber, where the hard drive mounted on that accelerator card. So that rubber just over 30 years of hot Texas, God knows where it was stored, melted and dripped down that board. It's probably in that card slot too.
That really brought home the idea of a shed to me, because sheds in Texas, when it's 100, it's 100 plus for 30
Yeah.
days, those sheds can become danger zones for people because they can build up so much heat inside that uninsulated metal building. That's just what I have in my brain, an uninsulated metal building, that this thing got so hot that it started to melt the plastic a little, or the rubber footing started to degrade. I was amazed.
Yeah, it's just crazy. So that's my guess. I'll know more once they make their trip back here to Virginia. But it's a neat box. It had good stuff in it. It had an accelerator. It had a flicker fixer in it, which was awesome for the 2000. There's some good, there's a hard drive in that too. I don't know if any of these drives are going to work or not, but we're going to sort that out. And for the last computer, Rich already kind of said,
I spoiled it.
We spoiled it. It's fine. There's an Amiga 4000 in there,
woo-hoo!
Which is dirty as heck. Oh my God. There were some card slots missing. A battery had been replaced. At some point, they put this other battery in there.
Oh, can I tell the battery story? Can I tell the battery story?
You can.
Let me tell a battery story. So Ryan's working with me remotely as his smart hands, and that's already dangerous enough, right? And so I clipped out the first battery on the 2000. And of course, it was like, get that as close to the board as possible. Great, going to do it. So he immediately, when we open up the 4000, we look at everything, says, hey, why don't you clip that guy out? And as I'm going to do it, he goes, but clip up higher on the wire. And nope, I clipped it right at the motherboard. So I made it as difficult for Ryan as possible. I didn't even, because it was a replacement battery pack that they had put in.
Yeah.
And the other surprise thing, when Ryan didn't see it as much as I did, I pulled the card out of the way to see that battery and to see the motherboard. There were two mud dauber nests on the board itself. One was over the battery pack, and one was it was on a chip. One of the chips was completely encased inside of a mud dauber nest. And I had to break those nests out. And they even still had mud daubers dead inside them. So this is a dirty deal. This is our dirtiest episode. How kinky.
Yeah, it's that one's going to be interesting. I'm hoping it survives. I'm hoping I can make that thing live again. We'll see. That's going to be a project in the future. And for those that don't know what a mud dauber is, because I did not, I had to look it up. For us on the East Coast, a mud dauber is a wasp that builds its nest in mud instead of building it out of the paper stuff, out of like a paper nest. Yeah, I had no clue.
I know when I said mud dauber, you looked at me like, what the hell are you even talking about, Rich? And I'm like, no, the mud daubers, they make these nests, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know they were wasps per se. I just know that they make those nests. You never really ever see them in those nests. It's like when you go to work on your old car, you see one. And you go to work on, I guess, your old computer kept in a shed, you get to find them.
Apparently. So we'll figure that out. I know it looks like an older 4000 because it's got the Buster 9 chip soldered on board instead of the 11 socketed. So I think it's like an early Rev A or something like that. It has a lot of really yellowing on the faceplate as well. So but I'm hoping to get that thing back alive and have another 4000. I love the 4000. That's one of my favorite machines of all time for the Amiga. Unfortunately, I don't have my original that I grew up with, but that was pretty sure that was a graduation gift. I got lucky.
Aww.
When I graduated from high school, they're like, what do you want? And I'm like, I want an Amiga 4000. And I had it for a couple years.
That's cool. That's a really cool graduation gift. That's a neat story.
Yeah. I'm like, that's what I want. That's the machine I want. And now later in life, I've come back around and gotten a couple 4000s. Yeah. But if I have to keep a single machine or a single couple of machines, 4000 is definitely in there.
It's going to be in there.
Oh, yeah. 100%. That's in my favorites.
Now, how about those cards?
There's several cards in there. They were just in a box, but there were slots missing in like the 4,000 and the 2,000. I'm guessing they were inside the machines and they were taken out at some point.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, yeah.
They were very well packed. All the cards looked almost brand new when I pulled them out of their sheathings or their bags.
Yeah, a little bit. Just anti-static bags.
Bags. That's what it is. Yeah.
They're great. There's two 16-bit sound cards that were in there. I'm assuming one for the 2,000 and one for the 4,000.
Oh, I'll add to that story later, folks. So just remember, there were a couple sound cards there. I got more to that story to add from my adventure.
Perfect. So they're definitely in there. There's a Picasso 4 card in there, which for those that know Amiga is a very nice video card, the RTG card for the Amiga. Unfortunately, it's missing the scan doubler piece that would for the 3,000, 4,000. But I found someone that made a board that replaces that.
Oh, no.
And I'm going to get, yep. So it has that, and you go find, there's like 4 chips on there, and you solder all this stuff together, and it recreates that piece that's missing. I just haven't ordered the board yet because the chips I got to get somewhere else. They're not standard chips anymore. So I'm probably going to get the boards made. And there's another board, instead of having to run cables, that has all of the female ends and just goes over top of it that connects this other board to the main board to give you that solid piece again. And I'll probably have those made as well and get those rolling and shipped out here. So at least I'll have that piece. So as I'm buying the connectors and then the chips, I can go put those on. And I actually own a Picasso 4 card with all of that stuff on it. So I can then go look at what came, what mine looks like. They're the same revision. So I'm super excited about that. The Picasso 4 is great. So it does scan doubling. So it'll convert to 15 to 31 kilohertz. I know we've had that issue before. And it'll give you, for the native modes, and just pass through. So one monitor cable, which is great. And it'll give you the higher, 1024 by 768 resolution on that card. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. What else is it? Oh, there's a network card in there.
That was hilarious. Tell them why that network card's so hilarious.
Well, how they build it, it's an Xsurf card. So what they built, they bought these Kingston's ISA cards with the BNC and the, 10-bit.
Just for standard PC use. Good old ISA cards all day long.
Yep. So Xsurf made this Zorro card, which is the Amiga one, and they attached the ISA card to the Zorro card with like a chip and a couple other things, and goes, "Here you go."
It looks like you just plug one card into the other and then use it. It was beautiful.
It probably is like that. So that's fantastic. I have a newer version of one of these Xsurfs in 2000 here. They're a great little card.
Oh.
They're a beautiful little card. So this is a neat find as well. There's an older 2090 SCSI controller card. It's a SCSI and an MFM controller card, actually, for those old drives. There's a memory card, a super memory card.
Wow.
And a normal ISA network card, whatever. And it looked like a PCI NVIDIA card.
Wow.
Doesn't work in an Amiga, but hey, whatever. It's cool.
It's NVIDIA. Just see if you can trade it for stock. That would be a good one.
That'd be fantastic. So that's pretty cool. So what else you got with the story with the sound card?
Oh, I'm going to get to that next, but I'm going to talk about people first, because one, it's amazing that someone has made an add-on to that card so that card can be reused again completely. People amaze me, but then people disappoint me. So Ryan has this big deal going on this weekend, right? This weekend that it's a big deal. Mm-hmm. And I then am kind of hanging out, having a beer. Maybe it's Saturday night. And maybe I'm having 2 beers because I can no longer have like 6. I can only have like 2 or 3. And
not a bad thing, by the way.
Not a bad thing. It's not a bad problem. On the Commodore 64 group, someone post a really good deal. I looked at it and said, this looks like a good deal. 128 with GOOS, with 1541, with a joystick, with a mouse, with another joystick. So the tank mouse, right, for the Commodore. It was a really good looking deal, 350. And I said, okay, not a great deal, but looks like a good deal. So I ping him. Thank God I went to bed. The next morning, he's responded back to me, right? He responded to me that night, and then he responded again in the morning. I said, yeah, is it still available? Yeah, it's available, Rich, just for you. And I said, great, let's kind of make this deal happen. I had already looked at the Facebook page for this person, and it was this person with their partner, and it looked very normal. You know, it's locked down. You know, you can't see all their posts, just like mine is locked down, right? But profile pictures all look like a regular family, look really good. I was like, this is awesome. And I thought it was a good deal. I really didn't do much research, but I had a green flag. Then we're in DMs chatting. And something gave me a little bit of an orange flag when I said, well, I can't find that post again. I'm looking at it because I want us to confirm all the parts for $350. Pretty standard idea, right? I'm going to give you money. You're going to give me these X amount of parts.
Correct.
They send pictures, not the post link. Didn't really think too much about it, but it did kind of throw an orange flag. And then they said, you know what? I didn't want to ship. I was like, oh, you're not in North Texas. Okay. And they said, we'll cover shipping at that price. And I went, orange flag number 2. The price was so good that I wondered how they were doing that. I then felt like I messed up on what I think a good deal is. Because, you know, let's say I put something out for $400 and someone says, I'll buy it. Will you ship it? And that they didn't even counter. I may say my 400 was my high to get to 300, right? So I go, yeah, let me cover your shipping. And we're all good. I actually made something good for them. I got the number I wanted. I handled shipping. We're all good. Then they send the red flag. And it was while I was working, and I'm working, and I'm IMing them, and I'm working, and they send over their PayPal, said friends and family. Okay, I get friends and family. People don't want to do business. I get the idea. But I'm in the meeting. I said, let me get done with my meeting. I'll get you the money. And thank God I had that meeting because I got that done. And then I went back to the conversation, and the email address did not match the person's name. It was completely different. And I was like, okay, well, I kind of have completely different names for me and my PayPal because of the days of many years ago when I started that account. So I thought, let me see. I'm already like, this is a scam. My brain is already going off on all its neurons, right? Scam, scam, scam.
Yeah.
And I said, let me see this. Let me take this next step. I go into PayPal. I drop that email in to see what it gives me back. Sure enough, I can send email. I can send money. But it was converting English dollars to English pounds. So it was converting it was converting American dollars to English pounds. And I went, all right, scam, done. I'm done. Scam. I'm not an idiot. I'm almost an idiot, not an idiot. At this point, I hadn't responded back. So I went ahead and took the photos they sent and I reversed image searched. Sure enough, there's an auction for 800 pounds with all this stuff in it. Exact same pictures, bro. Exact. So I hit them up. I said, this email's weird. What's going on with that? And they sent me a new email like immediately to use. They sent me, and then I went, your pictures are coming back to an eBay auction. I'm out. This is a scam. Good luck. And then they emailed me again and I said, or instant message. And I said, do no longer contact me. I said, I do not want this. No longer contact me. Of course, they tried 3 more times. They tried a FaceTime audio call, and I just ignored all of it. But those people are junk. The people that make the add-on stuff, they're awesome. The people who do stuff like that are trash. So that's, we get to talk about both sides of humanity today. The really good people and the really bad people.
I mentioned earlier where like eBay and stuff's more expensive, but there's insurance there that you're paying for as well.
Yeah.
Where if it's going to be Facebook or Craigslist, I'm buying and selling in person.
Yeah.
If I can't physically go somewhere and get the thing and physically hand you money, it's not happening.
And that's a perfect segue, Ryan. It's like you wrote this yourself. The idea there is Ryan starts communicating. He brought me into the text thread. We're communicating with this person that we bought the items from. We're all having a good social conversation, very nice to each other. We're all talking. Everybody's doing exactly what they said. I'm saying what day, they're saying what time, Ryan's saying what pricing. Everyone's committing to what they're doing, and we did it. And when I got there, I was able to look, make sure there weren't all bricks. You know what I mean? It wasn't a box of bricks. I was able to confirm what those items are. We handed over money and walked away. And I missed my deal, right? I saw that deal on C64 and I was like, oh, I missed mine, but that's life. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
Ryan, your Craigslist guy, pinged me directly off of our little group chat and said, hey, you talked about liking Commodores. I have a Commodore 128, a 1571 drive, two 1541s, a bunch of arcade joysticks. I got a Atari trackpad or a trackball. I got all this stuff. Are you interested? And I said, yeah, I'm interested. And so I texted Ryan immediately and like, dude, you won't believe what happened. Craigslist guy came back and is making me a deal. So he doesn't even have to make a Craigslist ad. He's just going to sell it to me. And sure enough, we lined up a date and time. We did our handoff. I have not opened everything, but boy, I'm super happy with the price I paid. I was looking at some of these items. A couple things work. One thing works, Ryan, and I'm good. I'm good.
Oh yeah.
More than one thing's work. I'm great. But dude, the 1541s, I don't know if you can tell by the picture. I'm pretty sure there's mud dauber nests inside them.
Those 1541, those two look dirty. But some of the stuff is in the original boxing and packing material.
Right. The C128 and the 1571 are in their original boxes and look beautiful. Now they're old, the plastics change color, things like that, but they are wrapped in plastic. They are, they're as mint as you're going to get mint off a Craigslist deal out of someone's shed.
This looks pretty solid.
Yeah. I will be turning those on shortly. And I will be testing them, and I will be refurbishing all those paddles and joysticks and that trackball back to original condition. The drives, I don't know where they're going to go. I know they got some great chips on them that, can be the 1541 actually has the same CPU chip that's in the C64 series, correct? Am I right about that?
I'm not as familiar with the 8-bit
Okay. Stuff. And I don't have a 1571, so that's really cool. I got a 1571 now.
I think you're going to refurbish these 1541s and make them work again.
Yeah.
That is your goal.
Yeah.
Make it all work again.
I'm just going to get my spray washer out. They are nasty.
Oh, this stuff, this looks like the same. They had to have been sitting right beside all the Amiga stuff because it has the same amount of dirt, the same amount of stuff.
And once again, I did, Ryan, when he was looking at what there was and everything, did authorize that if the guy seems cool to bump up what we paid him. And we did. So we're trying to be fair, right? We're trying to be fair. And the same thing happened for me. I hit him with the low price. We got to look at everything and I bumped it up a little. Turns out, personally, there's some stuff and that's going to be good for him to have a little bit of extra. And number two, the sound question. When I was then done with that deal today, and we were just in the parking lot, he pulled out his laptop and he showed me his program that he'd been working on in Vice 64 for MIDI manipulation.
Oh, wow.
So he had been programming and creating this MIDI interface. Like he's using the keys and it's doing wave things and playing SID chip sounds and all that jazz in Vice 64 on his laptop. And he's like, well, it doesn't really sound great here. Sounds a lot better on the hardware, blah, blah, blah. So this person definitely had a passion that they're still doing in that space. And now a lot of the music stuff makes sense because I got MIDI stuff in this box of crap I got to go through too. And you got MIDI stuff. So we're seeing that this guy's kind of a music person and was really using these items for music.
Yeah, which is really cool. It's a great. I didn't know that, so you were holding out.
I was holding out that for the podcast.
Love it, love it. No, I think that's great that he's gotten some space back. We've lost some space, but that's okay.
You know what? I was thinking about back at the last VCF East when they did the giveaways and someone got a C64 and someone got a 1541. One of these 1441s may make their way into a donation pile somewhere for an event like that. Not just for a freebie, but for getting people to be part of a raffle or getting people to be part of something. One of them does have the 8.9 flip on it that I need to test. That one's staying because I love the 8.9 flip on a 1541. Yep. But the other one may end up, I already have another couple of 1541s. That one may end up, if it gets working, donated for some type of charity fundraising, something.
Maybe. You do that, or you're going to get all your 64s working and you're going to build a lab.
That's right. And I'll do a hackathon. Didn't we talk about a hackathon? Yeah, we talked about a hackathon.
We talked about hackathon on the last episode, yeah. So, I mean, you could do something like that. You got a whole bunch of drives because, you want 2 drives on each one of those machines, so you can have the 8 and the 9. That'd be perfect. God, I love it.
Can you chain more than 2 drives to a C64? I don't know that answer.
I don't know that answer either, but I know you can do 2.
Yeah, no one I knew was rich enough to do that when I was a kid. I mean, that was some bang. That was some bucks, baby. But now that I have, you had 2?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had 2. I only had 2. That's all I ever had. So now that I have like 5, I could see if I could do a super chain. Well, at least I could do 4, 8, 9, 10, and 11.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think you can do a 12 address. I don't know. I need to look into that, Ryan. That's a really good question.
I think you got to write some. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think I have a good project in front of me.
I think you do. What would be even better is if you could write some software that can write to all 4 of those drives at the same time and spread your thing up across all 4 of them and raid them together.
That would be super nutty, bro. I couldn't do that, but you could.
I bet you could.
No.
Oh, I think you are.
I will say I did drop into show links a link to the Atari trackball because I've never seen this before. I was literally like, what is this thing? I thought it was going to be a Wicco or Wico, whatever you call those trackball, because those are pretty common, right? I wouldn't say they're so common they're cheap, but they're common enough that people know what they are. I've just never seen this version of a trackball. And so I'm super stoked to get it working because I don't know, that way I can play Marble Madness.
There you go. And I think there is Marble Madness for the 64.
There we go, baby. So yeah, that kind of wraps up my haul. Ryan, once again, your great communication with people, your great work with them has enabled me to walk away with a beautiful deal too. So high fives, Craigslist for the win.
All right. No, that was amazing. I'm glad it all worked out. I say this now before I get any of the stuff back here in Virginia and have to go, oh, what did I just do? I'm really excited, though. That said, I'm really, really excited. This is going to be cool projects probably for the next 2 to 3 years, honestly. I'm not even joking.
I know. I got so much stuff to work on, dude. I don't need this.
Right. And that's good because I'm like, hey, this is cool. When things appear and it's a deal, I'm like, all right, let's do it. I have no problems with that, but I got a lot of work to do.
Mm-hmm. And so do
Which means we have a lot of content.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe this is the end. Maybe we need to go get to work.
I think we do. All right. Thanks for following along, guys. And we'll give you updates as we get them.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.